week, the Sandbox is taking a break. It's Pope Paul's Confessions. He's talking to solid drummer Bobby Moller. He's backed up some of the best. And don't forget about Guess That Groove. Who are the celebrity contestants? We'll find out right now on West Coast Ramble. Hey guys, thanks for watching West Coast Ramble. Thanks for checking in. We got a great show for you today. But before we get down to the lineup, let's see what's going on with our good friend, Big Sandy. Hey, Big Sandy, what's going on with you, sir?
I'm playing with my phone. Oh, I'm doing all right, man. Yeah, man. Just most of the week has been preparing for this show and selling greeting cards.
Oh, greeting cards. All right, we won't go any more into that because I know the greeting card thing went pretty well for you, sir. We'll come back to Big Sandy in a moment. But right now, we got to talk to our good friend, Pope Paul. Pope Paul, what's been going on with you, sir?
Hey, guys. I just want to say thanks again for everybody who tuned in to the Illegals West Coast Ramble live stream last Sunday. The link is still there on all of our pages. You can continue to watch it. The numbers keep growing and growing, and we are just so excited about what a success it was. It felt really good to play with the band. Make sure you check it out. You know, maybe we can get some other bands in there in the future. We'd love to, you know, keep expanding that version of West Coast Ramble. But once again, thanks for the support, guys.
All right. Now we're about ready to get started with our game, Guess That Group. But before we do, we got to tell you what's going on with our fundraising. It's sort of like KCET. You got the PayPal down here, and you got the Venmo. If you feel like giving money, that's fine. If you don't, and you don't got any cash, we're happy you're just here. It's fun. But
just share it.
Yeah. The Ding Dong Daddies, let me show you this CD. A couple cats from the UK. They said, you know, we can't give you any cash right now, but what if we give you some CDs and you give these things away? And I thought, what a great idea. And that was the music that was opening our show, was the Ding Dong Daddios. And they got themselves a nice little CD. It's kind of swing music, pretty good stuff. And, you know, for every $15, I'll pop one of these in the mail to you. And it's a pretty good deal. You get a sticker as well. And also, if you got $10, any $10 or more donation, of course, we will give you this select West Coast Ramble sticker, right side up. Okay, guys, you know what that means? It's about time for our, what's the game show called? It's called Guess That Groove. Here we go. Let's roll the, I don't even have a promo for it, but I do have a picture here. Here it is. Guess
Courtesy of Dan Keegan.
Dan Keegan, thank you very much. Do you Guess That Groove? Hey. Okay, now we're going to show you our celebrity panelists in a moment. But you know who plays the game? We got our friend Big Sandy will be playing. And then Pope Paul will be playing. Say hello.
That's right.
And then here we have, the next player is Anthony Castanga.
What?
Young guitar
buddy.
player.
Whoa.
Hey, what do you know?
doing?
And
It's been ages.
he grew a mustache
way
over this
too long.
COVID thing. And the next
That looks good on you. Hope it doesn't fall off.
Who knows? Might just keep it.
Now, who is the last contestant today on Guess That Groove? Who could it be? 3, 2, 1. It's Deke Dickerson. Hey!
Glad to be here.
Hey.
Good to see you again, man.
That means we got some heavy hitters here. Okay, friends, you all know how Guess That Groove goes, correct? Don't you out there in West Coast Ramble land? Wait, James Marlowe is saying howdy, folks. Hey, James. We got a lot of people here. Okay. Friends, you know how to play, right? We just went through this just a moment ago. So we are going to play with our first. Here's how it works, guys. Whoever raises their hand first gets a chance to name the song and the artist. I'm going to play 6 songs. Whoever gets the most out of 6 will win the luggage. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
Yes.
Stand by, hands down. First song is coming up. 3, 2, 1. Oh, Deke Dickerson.
That would be the Collins kids, Larry and Lori with Hoy Hoy.
Correct. Deke Dickerson with 1. Wait, I got to get my
Judges? Oh, yeah. That was...
Deke
Not to be
Dickerson.
confused with the Collins coins.
Correct.
Do you have any Collins coins records, Deke?
I don't, but I have a photo of them.
Okay, yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah, the 45 I have is 2 of their 45s. Really good.
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on a second. A guy named Chris Stewart says, my money is on Deke.
Shit.
Okay.
I thought that was a hat. I thought that was a hat.
And
money.
Steve Hathaway says Collins kids. He doesn't know that there's a 20-second delay. There's no way you're going to beat these guys. But here we go. And
We'll see.
maybe. Here's the next song. And Anthony, feel free to jump in here anytime you want to start playing the game.
Yeah. Starting out slow. Let these guys get some points first.
That's
All
a
right.
handsome shirt, by the way. Look,
I know.
Yeah,
Not-
he's looking
not any-
good.
not anybody could pull that off. Anyway, what's next?
Okay, next song coming up in 3, 2, 1.
There won't be no tutti frutti, no lollipop.
Oh, Anthony Castagna.
What?
It's Richie Valens. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Right?
Nope.
Oh no. Big Sandy.
Big Sandy, come on.
Ooh, my head. It is Richie Valens, but it's ooh my head.
You are correct. I'm going to give
Or oh my head, as it says on the label.
That's
Oh.
ooh my head, I think. That's what it said on the thing. Okay, so we got Big
I
Sandy.
know. I know.
Anthony, I want to give you a point, but I can't. I got to be honest. You don't get a point for
let's
that.
be fair, it's fair.
I know.
I don't
Hey,
deserve one.
Yes, Robert.
No, I can't say it.
Oh,
Hey, but can we give Anthony just a little, consolation prize, because it is called Guess That Groove.
Can I get the blender?
So if Anthony can just tell us who is the drummer establishing the groove on that Richie Valens record?
oh my
Is
God.
it Hal Blaine?
No,
Not on that one.
he played on one of Deke's albums.
Roy Haynes?
Earl Palmer.
Earl Palmer.
Earl
Oh, that's.
Palmer.
Oh, God.
Damn it! I tried to hand you an easy one, man.
Hey,
Oh man.
hey, and by the way, guess that group. I have a friend. We have a friend that could tell what a certain record was by looking at the grooves.
No. Are
Really?
you serious?
Jason
No way.
Goodman. I've seen him do it.
Well,
That's amazing.
oh, Jason
Ja-
Goodman, really?
Jason
Yeah.
Goodman could do that? That's crazy.
I mean,
That's a magic trick.
We would let him see what label it was,
yeah.
but he would nail it usually. Yeah.
Oh, my
Wow.
gosh.
Go ahead. Next.
Okay, hold on. Janet Linen says Deke cheats. I don't know why she would say that, but that's terrible. Here we go.
Let's
Next.
stick with
Yeah.
the game.
Oh, sorry. Okay, here's the next song.
That's why I lost the last question, Janet.
Next song coming up. Here we go. Big Sandy.
yeah.
16 Chicks, Joe Clay.
Oh, and that was just from the solo. Great. So Big
I was
Sandy.
gonna say, I knew it was
It's
Joe
one of those.
Clay,
Yeah.
but I couldn't remember which song it was.
Oh man. Okay,
I
we're
thought it
doing
was Joke Clay.
joke Clay. Okay, guys, we got 3
I've
more
been one of
songs to
those,
get through.
unfortunately.
Now here we go.
I'm gonna ace all of them.
You're already there. In our hearts, you're already winning. And 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Yeah.
Anthony Castagna.
Bob Wills, Roly Poly.
Whoa! Young Gun pulls one off.
Nice.
Oh my God! It's anybody's game at this particular point. Well, it's not Paul's game
Yeah.
yet. Paul, are you just sitting this one out?
If all the rest are Beatles songs, he'll
Yeah.
catch up.
Okay. Oh, stand by. Let me. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. This one. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Anthony Castagna.
That's the Stray Cats. Oh,
Oh,
damn it! Double talking baby.
Yeah, there you go. He got it.
Okay, we'll give that to you, Anthony. Now, what this means is we got Deke has 1, Anthony has 2, Big Sandy has 2. This is a tiebreaker, or
Yeah.
if
is it?
It's not really.
Or a three-way
Mathematically,
tie.
It's a 3-way tie.
Tie maker.
You guys are gonna. It's like it's sort of like Solomon. We'll have to split the baby. Okay, here we. If no one gets this one, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
When you say goodbye, yes, that'll be the day.
Deke Dickerson.
That would be Buddy Holly with "That'll Be the Day."
Oh my goodness. Okay, Deke Dickerson. So it's a 3-way tie. We got Deke, Anthony, Big Sandy, and Paul. I apologize, sir. But you're gonna get a prize anyways.
We're gonna have a tiebreaker.
You guys want to have a tie? You want to? Okay, here we go.
We
Let's
have
do
time.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. This is all or nothing. Okay, I got it. I got one racked up. This is it for the luggage and the old hose. 3, 2, 1,
No
go.
hose.
Anthony Castanga.
Roy Orbison, Ooby Dooby.
Oh my goodness.
You win
And
the
he
Or is it
wins.
JP McDermott?
What does that mean? He wins.
Hey! Robert,
I get the
just,
luggage.
I was just thinking of stuff in my garage I could give him. That's all.
You have
So
an old hose in your
Yeah,
garage.
I
And
got
the
an old.
hose.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like an
want
old
Tom's
hose.
old hose.
Well, that's. I'm speechless. But you will be not getting my old hose.
What
All right,
kind of
friends.
podcast is this?
All right, friends. Before we get going, let's talk about what you've been doing. Hey, Anthony, what have you been doing over this thing? And you got music to sell or anything?
I've been quarantined in California for about 3 months now. Haven't been woodshedding a little bit. When I get back to Nashville, hopefully by the end of this month, we'll start working on a full-length record of me and my band. We started doing tracking before I left, but then had to cut that off.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully the gigs will start flowing in. You know, I think things are starting to open up. I know someone on this panel has a gig coming up.
Oh, then let's talk about that.
That's right, yeah.
Deke Dickerson, what do you got going on, sir?
Well, like everybody else, I've sort of had a 3-month quarantine, not doing any gigs, a couple of these online things. I just finished the Merle Travis book. That's very exciting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Can't
Of
wait
course,
for that.
there's still a lot of editing and revising and all that stuff to do, but it was fun after 3 years to hand it off to the publisher,
Oh, congratulations.
But I actually, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and hope looking forward to it actually being out. But I actually have a gig coming up. Believe it or not, I might be first out of all of us to take a swing at this. Chris Burkhardt is trying something at Campus Jacks in Orange County. We're doing an outdoor show with only 48 pre-sale tickets, and it's about sold out, I hear. It's June 13th. So if you are interested in snagging one of those last few tickets to see myself and the Whippersnappers play on June 13th, I guess go to stellarshows.net, right? I think that it's either
I'm not gonna
Stellar
help.
Shows. Yeah.
During our show. No, yeah, yes, that's what it is. Or is it Stellar Jacks? I think there's another.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Hey,
But anyway,
Yeah, go
they'll also be live streaming the show for those if you're not able to make it down there.
That's right.
And the website is set up for you where you can make a donation to help the cause. Maybe we should do a live remote from there, Tom.
Yeah, that's great. I'll set it up in the back of my truck from the parking lot. Okay.
Perfect.
Hey, guys, you know what? Can you stick around? Because we need to do this for the people. We're going to do one song for the people. And whoever gets this song, audience, you are going to win a prize.
Now we have to watch all the different feeds too, because last week people were saying, "Hey, so and so had it first over on the Flyride page." So I'm going to try to check the answers.
Okay.
On all of
All
these.
right. You guys check. You guys
as
check
well
the
as I can.
feeds. Let me know when you're ready. And I'm going to have to give you a song that I gave before because I only have so many songs loaded. And I know this is before everyone's loaded. Let me see.
What?
I
think I've got some comments coming in.
Okay,
This
stand
is
by.
on the West Coast Ramble Facebook feed.
Yeah, but we're also on YouTube as well and on Pope Paul's page. Okay, are you guys ready out there listening? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Candy bar, talking all about how sharp they are. These
We're waiting.
cool cats, 3 cool chicks, 3 cool chicks.
Should be getting a winner about now.
Are swinging their hips, splitting up a bag of potato chips, and 3 cool cats did.
I got an answer.
Oh, who got it? Oh, I got Jay McDowell.
Well, I see 2. Yeah, Jay McDowell.
Was he first?
Well,
Abby.
Abby said the song, but she didn't say the artist. But Jay
Yeah.
McDowell got the artist and the song. That's
Dig it.
Smilin' Jay from BR549,
Hey, Jay McDowell, could you private message me your address, please, and I will be sending you a quality shirt. And we want to thank our guests for being here, Deke Dickerson and Anthony Castanga, two great guitar players. Thank you for being here, guys. We
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys.
Good luck with the show, man. It'll be, we're all watching to see how that's going to play out because, you know, we're all trying to figure out what's going to happen. That's going to be a little test for all of us. You know.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, Anthony, you got stuff on iTunes or Apple Music, anything like that?
Not yet. I do have two EPs out, but, you know, if someone wants to message me bad enough, they can, I'll send them a couple copies.
Oh, yeah, man.
All right, guys. We'll see you later, man. Thanks a lot.
Guys.
Okay.
Bye,
guys.
Okay, that was Guess That Groove. Now, wasn't that a lot of fun, friends? By gum, that was a lot of fun.
A lot of friends too.
Sorry for my harsh words. Hey, you know what that means? It's time for our first guest, and normally we do Big Sandy Sandbox. Are we going to do that this time? No. We're doing Pope Paul's Confessions. Hey, Paul, how you doing over there?
Sir.
Are you about ready to do your Pope Paul's Confession?
I am. It's looking like our guest just joined on. I'm gonna give him a few minutes to get live with us.
Yeah,
But
he's good. He's good.
Okay, hold on. I got to roll your promo because I worked really hard on this promo, and I got to play this. Here we go. Here's Pope Paul's Confession promo. Here's Paul. Stand by for the promo. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Pope Paul's Confessions.
Paul, take it away.
All right. Lost him, but I think he'll come back. Anyway, on one of the Illegals' last tour, I got to stay. I hear some music, too. Anyway, about 4 years back, this amazing dude was playing drums for Little Leslie and the Budshots, and he wanted me to sit in on bass for a few songs at Viva Las Vegas, and that was Bobby Moller. And since then, we've become pretty good friends. When the Illegals were touring through New York, he let us stay with him in Jersey, and he ended up playing drums with us for a gig. I've been able to play one song with him and Laura, the Screaming Rebel Angels. He's been in a really cool psychobilly band, the Spastics. And for all you psychobilly nerds like me, this thing was on Crazy Love Records. That's like the cream of the crop of psychobilly records, pretty much. And I got it signed here. I also got my Bloodshot record here signed. So he's on a lot of these recordings. He's played with a bunch of cool cats. So I want to introduce him now. Give it up for Bobby Moller, guys.
Hey.
Hey, Bobby. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks,
How you
man.
doing over on the East Coast?
Doing okay. Getting through this COVID pandemic, and now we had the protests for the last couple of days. You know, trying to just swing it, and can't wait till we can get back out there gigging.
Man, you know what, really quick, why don't you tell us where you are?
Well, I'm at work right now. Because of the protests, I work in security, so I'm doing my job right now. I'm on my lunch break, so in case anybody's asking or watching. So
hey, I think that's the cool. I think you're the first guest to join us live from work, so that's pretty cool, man. So we appreciate that.
Thanks.
You know what? I want to jump into it. You blew my mind. We're talking, on the East Coast about all the people you've played with, man. So I mentioned some of the more later ones, but can you give us a little history of your career as a drummer? Who you started off with, some of the heavy hitters you've had the honor of backing up?
Okay. Well, I obviously started in the punk scene back in the 80s, the hardcore scene in New York City with a band called Victims of Society. With that turned into a power pop band called True Rumor. We put a bunch of records out, and we were actually getting looked at by RCA at the time, but nothing came about it. So at that point, I ended up joining the New York City Police Department, and I was a detective for 26 years. And I retired from there, and when I retired, I jumped right back into the music scene, and I joined up with Little Leslie and the Bloodshots. And, we put out a bunch of records, went to England, Italy, Sweden, all these great places. And, put out, was on Western Star Records and put out a bunch of stuff. At that point, I ended up leaving because Leslie moved down to the Carolinas, and we were trying to keep it together. the band, and I was traveling back and forth, and it got a little tough. My parents are very elderly at this point, so I ended up leaving that band. But being here in New York, I get to fill in with a lot of great bands like Screaming Rebel Angels. I do a lot of work with Laura. She calls me up with Deborah Dynamite and Crash Gordon in New Jersey. I get to do a lot of dances with them, which is wonderful that they constantly call me up and ask me to come out and play. Last year, I got to do a real wild show that I got to back up Boz Bora from the Polecats. He came to New York, and me, Laura, and her guitar player, Brian Edward Hack, we got together and backed him up, and that was a phenomenal show. I also do I back up Jittery Jack and Miss Amy Griffin all the time when they come down to New York, and I got to go on tour with them in like 2016 throughout the whole United States, and which was a fantastic tour because they are the greatest cats that you want to hang out with, man. They're just super people, yeah. And let's see, the R&B singer from England, the Northern Soul singer, Sister Susie. Yeah, she came in, and I got to me and Amy and Joe DeStolfo on bass, and we got to back her up for a show here in New York, which was fantastic. Wow, a lot of other, I just love playing, and I play. Right now, I'm working with Laura, Screaming Rebel Angels guitar player, Brian Edward Hack, and we got a project going, and we're trying to put that together. It got a little interrupted because of the pandemic. And so when this whole thing ends, we'll be back out there playing, and I got some ideas to put together an a la like Sandy Nelson 45, like a Let There Be Drums type cool. 45. So, try to push something like that, and then hopefully whoever wants to come to New York and play with me, and I'd love to get to jam with Big Sandy over here. That would be great, But I know he's got one of. He's got one of the top drummers there, Frankie Hernandez, who's a fantastic guy. I did get once when I was with Jittery Jack out in California, and I do have a picture of this. I got to jam with Ashley Kingman, so that was a big honor in my life. So,
cool, man.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, a lot of others. Oh, I can't how to forget. I play with the Spastics, and we were actually heading off to Mexico City right when this pandemic broke, and that trip got canceled. So we were a little bummed about that because that was our debut album. They actually have a new album coming out that I didn't play drums on, but I was backing them up for the tour. We're gonna start to once this pandemic ends and we can get back together. We're gonna get together and do some stuff, and it's gonna be interesting. So
nice, man.
Yeah.
One
stuff.
thing. I'm going to embarrass you for 1 second. I was honored when I walked into your house and I was featured in you have your hall of, musicians you played with, and
my wall of fame.
Las Vegas. Yeah, man. That really humbled me, dude. I walked away feeling pretty cool about that. But let me ask you really quick, do you and Brian have a name for the new project yet? Or are you just still
Right now we're calling it Bobo and the Blue and Lonesome 2.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little interesting, We have played some shows, so there are some videos out on YouTube of us doing some really cool obscure rockabilly tunes from the 50s. Narville Phelps and stuff, So
that sounds good.
So good stuff, yeah. It's a lot of fun because it's real old school, so that's just really good stuff.
I wondered about something when Paul when it all worked out, your schedule and ours for you to be on the show, and we announced it. There was like a lot of response from all the East Coast cats. Like there seems to be a lot of just like camaraderie with the people in the scene that like maybe they felt like hey, yeah, East Coast out there representing on the West Coast ramble. Is it just me? It seems to be like even maybe even more than out here and out this way. There seems to be, you guys are really together, and you kind of like really root for each other. Even when the musical styles differ a little bit, there seems to be a sort of camaraderie that runs through it. Is that true or not?
Yeah, no, it is true. We have a smaller scene, I think, compared to the West Coast, and so everyone is pretty much all supportive to each other. The shame, like with the fact of this pandemic, a lot of the places, a lot of the venues we play are shutting down. So we're gonna have to find a whole new set of places to play, when everything gets going again. And we all support each other because really it's not as big as like you guys. I mean, we're in awe of the West Coast scene. It's just it's amazing, And I've done a couple of psychobilly festivals out on the West Coast, and I played the Ink and Iron Festival with the Bloodshots out there, and just that blows your mind to see how many people there are, and then the whole Viva Las Vegas, scene is that's just intense. So, so I mean, New York, it had its days, but it will come back. It will come back. It's coming back, one day at a time. That's pretty much all you can do. It's a shame. I mean, we still have like Nashville Boogie, which hopefully, everything can get back on the ground, again, back running, within the next year,
Well, I just want to bring that up because I saw a lot of comments. Yeah, go Bobby. Like,
I owe a lot of people money.
Okay, there you go. There's the answer. Okay, that's all I wanted to jump in with. That's all.
Bobby.
They owe me money.
Nice. What's the name of your guest room in your house for musicians, man?
We talked about this, I know, but I can't remember what I actually told you that time.
You said it was the Wayward.
Wayward Home for Musicians, yeah.
The Danny B. Harvey Wayward Home for Musicians.
That's right. I forgot. I played with Danny B a lot. Also, when he comes to New York, I got to play with him with the Bloodshots. He sat in with us, and with his darling wife Annie Marie. When they came to New York, I got to play with Danny. I got to play with Barry Ryan also. To talk about two ex-rock cats, I got to play with both those cats. And waiting to try to get a gig there with Dibbs. I would really like to back up Dibbs one of these days. He's another one of my idols. So, I remember going to see the Rock Cats when I was 16, 17 years old. And that was just an amazing thing, back in those days, when rockabilly was really getting going, in New York and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, the room Paul is talking about is my daughter. My daughter moved out of the house when she was 14. She became a professional ballerina. So wow. She's 23 now, but so she went away to ballet school. So the room is a shrine to a 14-year-old girl. There's a gigantic Green Day poster hanging in the corner. There's all these stuffed animals. And now I get all these musicians coming in, and I let them stay at the house, and I got all these grubby musicians sleeping there with pink frills and stuffed animals, but they seem to like it. It mellows them out, and they get good night's sleep when they're over. And my wife is pretty good. She makes you breakfast and does your laundry. So.
Oh, your wife's the best, man. She made us all kinds of good food, and you were the coolest, man. It was a great way to wind up that tour last year. I loved playing with you, man. It was awesome.
It was great playing with you, Paul. It was a lot of fun. I mean, one of the best things that happened to me at the Nashville Boogie was meeting up with you, John, Abby. That was way back then.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. But yeah, thank you so much. The last thing I want to say, just got distracted too, though. It really be that Laura show you dragged to like the only tiki bar around on the East Coast. That was a good night, man.
Otto's Wrecking Head and Tiki Lounge, great place. It's our place here in New York City. So anybody from the West Coast want to come to New York, call me up. I'll meet you over at Otto's when everything gets opened up again, and we'll have a tiki drink together.
Cool. All right. Well, Bobby, does anyone else have any questions for Bobby?
Once again, not a question, more of a comment. I just want to say, when your name came up, that announced that you were going to be on the show, the first thing, well, great, Bobby, great play. But then they'll pause and say, he's such a sweet guy. Everybody talks about what a wonderful person you are, and that really comes through. So thank you, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, man. Hey, honor to be on the show, and thank you guys for having me. It was really, much appreciated, and rock on. And it's a great thing what you guys are doing.
All right.
Thanks, Bobby.
Right.
We really appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you again soon.
Be
All
good.
right,
Be
take
careful.
care.
Be careful out there, my friend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. There we go. All right, man. So we got a lot of comments. You're right about that, Robert, on the from the East Coast. So let's see. Okay, now we got going over here, friends. We got our next guest coming up, and we've got quite a lot of time with him, which is actually really good because he's quite a guest. But we've got before we get going, I do got to tell you, over at tomorrow at noon, you can go to Jack's Stellar Shows is doing a tribute. What is it called? It is the Roots of Tiki Music, Hula Billy, Exotic, along with lots of other music. That's Sunday tomorrow at noon with Jack's. So go ahead and take a look at this commercial here, and this is what's happening tomorrow at Jack's noon. Check it out.
Watching it.
Hey, there we go. Eclectic music, and we hear all stuff is going on in the background. As you can tell, it's a little crazy over here. Hey, look it, Axel Izardi is here. Hey, how's it going, Axel? You know what, Axel? Did you know that a relative of yours is on our show? And
So he says.
so he says, hey, friends, smack a hand for James Intveld. Say hello, sir. Hello, James. Hey.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Thanks for taking your time out on what would have been normally a busy Saturday night for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Now it's like Friday and Saturday nights are like, let's see. Yeah, no more of that for a while, I guess.
Where have you Where have you been spending these lockdown hours? What part of the world?
I've been out in California. You know, my mom is getting a little older, and I've sort of been out here taking care of her. In the last 5 years, I've sort of, even though my house is in Nashville, I still have my house. I came out here to take care of my parents, and my dad now has passed away. It's been a couple years, but my mom's still out here, and so I decided to get myself some kind of a place out here, like a shop or something, because when I was helping them out, I really couldn't do any music when I was, I couldn't sit in a room and do anything at their apartment. So I ended up getting myself a room that I rented, and I built a recording studio in it. And this is out in Costa Mesa, but that was a little far from my mom's. Kind of needs a little bit more help. So what I did was I just moved to Monrovia. So I'm in California, but I'm about 20 minutes from where my mom's at. And I started building this recording studio here in March, and just about the time that the whole COVID thing happened. So for me, it's like I come here every day and I just work on building this place. I have this, some of it built already now, since I've been in here for a couple months. Actually, I was doing really well until I started doing the live stream, and then the live stream, I do it twice a week, so it's sort of taking up some of my time and my focus. Between that and trying to go to the grocery store, get my mom's stuff, or whatever else I got to do, I try to get in here and work on this. Hopefully, at the end of this year, I'll have this thing built. I'm building a big room too, like a sound stage in here as well, because I would like to try to do a TV show in here if I could.
Oh, that'd be great.
A music show, for all of us to be involved in, sort of like what Marty Stewart had out in Nashville. Kind of think it would be cool if we had a West Coast one like this. Well, bands could actually play live on the show, and I can host it and bring other people in. And I've just been inspired to do that with seeing all the shows that I kind of grew up watching, like the Porter Wagner show and the Wilburn Brothers, and I just love all that stuff. So for me, it's like, why don't we have one of those here? And I'm thinking, the only way that happens is you just got to do it. It's like Dale Watson doing the Ameripolitan Awards. He just decided one day, well, we should have an awards show. So he put it together, and I've been out there helping him as well as you have, Big Sandy. And I'm thinking, well, we don't have anything out here in the West Coast that's organized sort of like that where there's actually a spot. I mean, where are you going to get a sound stage? You know, I think a couple of people have tried it in the past over the last 20 years, but it could never work out because of the fact that it just was very expensive. So I've got it set up now where I'm just going to kind of sort of run it myself, since I have some of the knowledge from all the production I've done over the years too for film and television. So I've just tried to use all the different things that my experiences, you know, and try to sort of harness something for all of us, so we could have something that we have. I mean, there's a couple really old Big Sandy videos that are just shot beautifully. You guys are all dressed up, and it's great, and it's wonderful to have that. And I think we should have that on you know, we should be continuing that on a big basis with everybody who has a record. You know, if Dave Stuckey puts out a new record, it's like, well, let's have him on the show, and he can do his record. It's like our version of American Bandstand, you know, on a very small scale. But I think it's time to have something like that. You know, you and me both doing these live streams, and you guys having your West Coast Ramble show, just goes to show you that people are interested in watching. You know, there's a lot of people in Europe and in Australia and different countries that don't get to see this stuff like this all the time. So it's nice to be able to go, oh, there's a channel, we can go see this. Oh, Big Sandy has a new record out. Oh, here's the single. Here's him playing live with the band, along with a few other things. It's kind of like a variety show. So, anyways, I don't want to ramble on too far about that.
No,
that's something that I'm sort of looking forward to, since it's getting harder and harder to tour because of the expense of just being on tour. And I still want to do that because, you know, I love going over to Europe and playing all over the United States, because it's a lot of fun. That's a way we get to see all of our friends, you know.
But there is some new possibilities that are coming to light during this whole thing, you know.
And we should take advantage of that, you know. So I think it's a positive thing. But that's what I've been doing. You know, I have not been sitting around watching reruns or bad movies. I've just been in here pounding nails and trying to make it happen. And
you haven't been complaining about it,
no.
You know. Well, I really respect that you just said, okay, what am I going to do? You assess the situation and you figured out something. I guess that's what you've always done all along. And I know some the guys have some career, but I just want to make note of something before we move on to the specifics. In a general way, you touched on it. No matter what has happened, whatever has been going on in your life, you've always made time for family. You've always put your family first. No matter where your career has been, the family has come first, and I respect you so much for that. But I think that extends to outside of your physical family. It's the same thing with the people who go to your shows, people who've been following you on your live streams with your fans. There is a family feeling. I wonder was that a conscious thing? Did you try to cultivate that, or did it just happen?
I don't even understand now that we're doing this. It's interesting. You know, after the whole COVID thing broke out, a month went by. I did not play any shows. I did not do the live streams. I saw people were doing it, and I thought, I don't want to be another guy with my cup out, tin cup, going like, hey, give me some money and I'll play you some songs. I just felt bad about it, and then people kept hitting me up and saying, no, you got to do it because people actually really want to see it. And I thought to myself, okay, well, maybe I should try one. So then I did one, and everybody showed up on it. And then I felt like, oh my God, this is great. This is giving a lot of people a chance to hang out with me, and I can hang out with them too. And I was getting a lot of feedback from that. And then all of a sudden now I've got people that started coming to see me 40 years ago that I know from the Handlebar Saloon, from all these little crazy gigs that I did, the Dutch Indo community. These people are all chiming in. My cousins are talking about when we were little kids, and our parents, like my dad and my Uncle Ed, you know, they used to play together, and all that stuff is coming to the surface, and that's all mixed in with all the new people that have been coming to see me in the last few years. It's just this mishmash of people, and everybody's becoming friends, because every week I encourage everybody to talk to each other online and say hi, and why do you know me, and why do you know James from this or that, and then there's a lot of cross references, you know, and connections where a lot of European people that have come over here have met a lot of the fans that are over here are friends, and so now they're friends, you know, without even me being in the middle of it. And so it's been pretty exciting to be able to be playing a show one night and have somebody from Australia, somebody in Saudi Arabia, somebody in Italy, someone in Holland, Germany, and then somewhere in the United States, all watching in Canada. And you're just thinking to yourself, my God, at this one moment, all that is happening. You know, all these people are connected, and it's fun. I mean, I got to say, other than the fact that I'm not playing with a band, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know, the band thing I miss, and the whole thing. I was talking to Dave Stuckey about it the other day. There's something that happens, you know, when you guys are playing, when you're playing with guys, and you hit on something good, and you're having a good night. Boy, it just sort of, it just puts all this energy into you, and you just feel very, very satisfied at the end of the day. And plus, I think Robert, you and me are pretty kind of social people. You know, we have friends, and we like to hug them and see them and talk to them and visit them. That's something we haven't been able to do. We could do it on the phone, but it ain't the same. And well, I'm still grateful that we have this medium and that we're able to do what we're doing right now, because it really, really is helping me out. And I think probably for you guys all on the other side of this camera probably are happy that we have this medium, because we get a chance to talk to each other.
Well, I think for every person that thanks us, like, it just even multiplies even more the way that we have been benefiting from it, man. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I know, man. It's a two-way street, you know. But the interesting thing is, there's all these people that we even had as followers for years that got married, had kids, got their, you know, the regular jobs, and they don't really come to your shows or my shows anymore. And now they can see you online, and their kids are in the room, and they're just putting us on, and they get to talk to you, and we're sort of reconnecting with a lot of our old friends because of the fact that this thing happened, you know. So there's that. I mean, I'm grateful for that, because there's a lot of good times and good memories, and that's one thing that this has stirred up, is seeing like old pictures that have been posted pictures of you and all these other people, all of us hanging out at the Palomino back in the day, or some other kind of hootenanny, all these different gigs, and you just think to yourself, oh man, that was a great time. I remember when we did that. All that stuff coming up is actually helping me feel a lot better, and I'm sure you're probably going through the same thing.
Yeah, man. Well, I want to give a chance, give an opportunity for other guys to ask you something, because Lord knows I could talk to you all night, because you've been just such like a shining star in my life and career, and you encouraged me from an early age. But I'll hand it over to one of the other guys here. Thanks, man.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, you know, I'll take a question, James.
What's up, Tom?
Man, thanks for meeting me and for calling me Tom, because usually I'm just like the guy in the back of the room, and I'm all, these guys are awesome. They actually are talking to me. No, but actually, when I first saw you, I got the flyer up in my room. I forgot I should have brought it down. You're playing at Ichabod's in Fullerton, and I was like 1983 or something like that. I was in high school, and we couldn't get into the club at 18. But I remember hearing you on the LA Rockabilly album, and I wanted to see you so bad, because it was like the Stray Cats were the stuff that we knew, but when I heard you play, it was like the vocals were awesome, and the music was just so vintage. I thought it was like an old record when I first heard that stuff. At what point how did you guys come up with that style? Like, when did you start, and how did you dial in that sound?
Well, the interesting thing for me was, as a child, I used to see my dad sing. So I kind of just was already growing up with that kind of a vibe, with my dad singing on stage. He didn't do it professionally, but whenever there was a wedding or something, my dad would get up and I'd see him on stage. I'd be like going, this is so cool. Like, that's my dad, you know, he's up there singing and everybody's digging it. And my uncle played guitar, and most of my uncles played guitar, which was very, very interesting. You know, they didn't even own a guitar. They'd come over to my house, and I'd have the guitar and be in the corner. They'd pick it up and they'd start playing. I'm thinking, he plays guitar? So I kind of grew up in a musical family. And then when I was 8, I ended up getting a guitar. This is when we were living in Compton, and I really had this idea in my mind that I was going to become a guitar player or whatever. You know, I mean, we watched Elvis movies every week. The $1 Million Movie would be on, and we watched all those old Elvis movies. We were so into those movies. We thought Elvis was one of the family. We thought like he was a relative or something, because we watched him so often, you know. So I had that going on on one side. And then my parents, they were just, God bless them, and they just had so many cool records. I grew up with a lot of country music. We had, like, I'll only tell you some of the albums we had. We had this Lefty Frizzell record, the one where he's sitting on the. Do I have it up here on the wall? No, I don't have it on the wall here.
Chicken.
It's the one with the chicken on the
yeah.
thing, he's sitting up on the fence.
Yeah.
That was a record. We blew through that record a lot at the house. And my parents were into Hank Williams. We had some Hank Williams 45s, those the MGM ones with the gold label on them. And I used to play the crap out of those records. My parents were into Tennessee Ernie Ford, so we had all the Shotgun Boogie and Blackberry Boogie and all that stuff. We had the Fats Domino Million Sellers album. We had Elvis album right there, the Elvis Golden Records. We had that one, and we had the one where he's wearing the gold suit. And there's I think it's called 1 Million Fans Can't Be Wrong.
Can't be wrong.
Like
yeah.
That. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
There's all these records. And my dad brings home Sun record, RCA version of Elvis and Sun records, and I'm listening to all this music and absorbing it and saying this stuff is really, really cool. I started playing in a band when I was 10, living in Compton. I was going to regular elementary school, and I got in a lot of trouble in there. There was a lot of issues with fighting and this and that happened, and I ended up having to go to. My parents put me in Catholic school for a while, and when I was in Catholic school, I ended up in the guitar mass band because I could play guitar. I was 10 years old and I could play because I had to restart playing guitar when I was 8. So we ended up forming a group with the guys at our little guitar mass, and we would be rehearsing in someone's garage, and we would play and just play whatever songs they wanted to play. And then we got a gig at a little carnival for our church. And the day we had the gig at the church, the other guys didn't really want to sing. So they were kind of like, oh, maybe you can sing. So I ended up singing, and then I became like the singer without really thinking that I was going to be the singer. And I thought I was just going to play guitar. And then it went from that band, which we called Freedom, and we all wore red, white, and blue shoes, the pants, the whole thing. And I was playing that music, and then the band lasted for a few years, and then my parents moved from Compton out to Garden Grove. And when we moved to Garden Grove, I kind of sort of lost connection with the guys in my band. We talked sometimes on the phone, but I never really saw them. So then I just went to school. I got into racing motorcycles, motocross, and all this other stuff. And about the halfway through high school, I started getting interested in wanting to really play music. I just didn't connect with anybody on music. So I found out, my dad found out there was a talent show thing happening at the Palomino. And he said, hey, there's a talent night. Let's go down there. So my dad took me down there, and I ended up singing at the talent show. And then I found out that every night there was another talent show somewhere. So I started doing that. And then I was still kind of sort of on the fence thinking like, oh, this is really cool, but this is never going to go anywhere. And then the Buddy Holly movie came out, the Buddy Holly story. Came out in 1978. I was 18 years old when that movie came out. And me and my brother went to go see that movie. And it blew my mind. That movie and the movie Rock and Roll High School. Now, I'm watching the Ramones and I'm watching Gary Busey, and they're all just playing 3-chord rock and roll, and I'm thinking, these guys are famous, and they're playing 3-chord rock and roll. It's not that big, crazy arrangements that you hear on the radio with Billy Joel and
Boston.
Yeah, Boston, exactly. And I thought, wait a second, maybe I can actually do this. So then I started really seriously trying to play and think of playing music, and I got my brother involved. He was 3 years younger than me, and I bought him a drum set. So we just started trying to make some stuff happen, on our own. And I just started going around trying to figure out places to play gigs. And that's sort of what happened. And then I started feeling like, well, we need songs, because I was reading these bios at that point about everybody and how they were writing. And so I just started writing songs. And I think My Heart Is Aching For You is probably one of the first songs I wrote. And then we thought, well, we got to be like all these movies that you saw, these rock and roll movies, where you got to go make a record. But we didn't know, like I couldn't go, I was not, I didn't think in my mind, I'm going to go to Capitol Records and tell them, hey, I need to get a record deal. I'm playing music that sounds like it's from the 50s. So I thought, well, let's just go into the studio and record. So we went over to radio recorders. We found out because we're doing all our own research. There was no internet and none of this stuff. We were like trying to figure this stuff out, word of mouth, trying to go to. We see flyers. Oh, there's a band playing. It's Ray Campy, American Patrol. We go see them. There wasn't a rockabilly scene. There wasn't anything. What there was a scene of people going to see old movies downtown, and there was like a small little scene with like sort of like the new wave and the punk rock stuff was happening. So we started going to LA and looking at that and finding other people that really liked kind of rockabilly, and there was stuff. Robert Gordon put out a 45 of It's Only Make Believe. I think we saw that at Licorice Pizza.
Licorice
And we
Pizza.
were saying, okay, we got that. And then there was the Steak and Stevens comes out, right?
Yeah, man.
Now all this stuff already had happened before there was no Stray Cats yet. It was just these other bands. And we're looking at that thinking, man, we even looked at Elvis Costello and said, look at that guy, man. He's dressed kind of
Looked like Buddy Holly or something.
like a Buddy Holly guy.
Yeah.
So these are the influences we got. That was like nobody really into it. Like me and my brother would walk around on the streets. We would like grease our hair back and cuff our jeans, and people would drive by and yell at us, "Hey, happy days!"
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And to you, it was a compliment.
Exactly. Because we thought, wow, we're on the right track. Or they thought we were either that or punk rock. It was just because we just didn't look like most of the other kids did, I guess, in the late 70s. So that's kind of how we emerged into the thing. And then we started finding out about other little bands that were playing. And we started going to LA every night just to go catch somebody play. And that's sort of what happened. And we got inspired. And then before you know it, I met Dave Gonzalez and guys from the Paladins.
Yeah,
and then we started becoming friends. We met Art Fine. And through Art Fine, we found out about other people. We would go to Art Fine's house and we would have these little record sessions where we would sit there for maybe 4 or 5 hours just playing 45s, right? We'd bring 45s. He'd have, have you heard this one? You have this one? And this is how people did it back then. I think me and Big Sandy are still like that. We still like to do that. And there's a lot of, not only us, there's a lot of people that are into that. But that's all we had back then. And I'm not saying like, oh, the good old days were great, but they were kind of interesting because you really had to seek things out. So we were really inspired. I know Big Sandy was in the same boat. He found other kids that were excited, and then he had his band, the Moondogs, and then all of a sudden they're kind of showing up and doing stuff, and they're young, and we're thinking, oh, look at these guys. And then the Stray Cats hit, and it becomes a blow up, and it becomes like this big thing. And now we don't even have to explain to people what rockabilly is, because now the Stray Cats are like a famous band. Even though the Stray Cats weren't really necessarily even in the sorts of same scene that we were in per se, because we were kind of doing something a little bit different. They were had a little bit more edge and a little bit more, it was just more flamboyant. The playing was great and the singing was great. The songs were great, but they just had a little bit of a wilder look, I think, than sort of where we were coming from, or at least me and my brother at the time. We were dressing very, very stock 50s. So we would go to thrift stores and we would find stuff back when you still could get stuff.
Well, that's what struck me when I saw you, because all through the 70s was all, the nostalgia, like kind of a 70s version of the 50s. But that was cool too. I just always, and I was younger. I wasn't a teenager yet, but I was like, I can't wait to be a teenager. It's going to be so cool. And I can be, maybe daydreaming like that. I was, I could be someday like it was in the 50s. Then I saw you, and it wasn't a nostalgia thing. It was like real up on stage. I mean, it wasn't a hokey thing at all. It was like very real. It was vital. I could see people responding. Do you see the women swooning? So, wow, this is everything I've daydreamed about. I'm witnessing it in front of my eyes. So if I could turn my head around, man.
Well, it was great. It was great to see you show up with your dad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. No, please do. Cut my ass off.
And I saw you out there. I think your brother might have been with you too. And I thought,
yeah, John was there.
Man.
John David was there.
I said he's got his hair pumped up and he's all dressed up. And then I found out you were a singer, and I got you up on stage with me. Remember that?
Yeah, but the thing, I wasn't a singer.
I know. But
I learned on your stage, man, on your bandstand. You let me get up with you.
Yeah, because I thought it was great. I thought, wow, there's another person who's into this stuff. We got to all kind of join forces here. Let's get him up here.
Did you have a guy like that?
No.
No.
There wasn't anybody.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There wasn't anybody who was into that. Never had anybody say, "Hey, come up and play." I really did it through that whole little talent thing. You know, I had my bands, you know, like my own little bands, but really it was because of those talent nights, like the Palomino, the Forge. All these places had a different night. Like Tuesday night was at a different place, and you could follow it. And all you would do is you get there, you sign up, and then you'd wait, and then they'll let you get up with the band and you'd sing a song. And then I'd go home and go back to school in the morning. You know, when I used to do the Palomino, I would tell the ladies there when I'd sign up and say, "Can you just put me on early? I don't want to win. I just want to sing." And then I got to go to school. So they would just put me on early, and then I wouldn't care. I wasn't there to win. I would just wanted to get on stage, you know, and play with a band. So that's basically how that happened. But when you showed up that day, I'm thinking to myself, well, this kid's into this stuff. Maybe we should get him up. I'm sure we probably know one of the songs he could do, you know. And that's how we were. I mean, we were pretty heavily steeped in all the Eddie Cochran, Gene Vincent, Buddy Holly, and Elvis stuff at that point, you know.
But you knew a lot of the other standards too. Your knowledge went beyond just the typical, you know, rockabilly band of the day, and that just what really moved me. You know, like I said, I could talk to you all night. You're the one who changed my life, man. You are more than any record, more than any old artist from the past. But I know Paul wants to ask something, and I want to throw it to him.
Sorry, Paul.
He's chomping
It's
at the
all
bit.
good. I am. You know, I have to do the obvious one. A lot of people are asking. My take on this question is, what was your first reaction when you found out you were going to be doing the overdubbing and the singing for Crybaby, and Johnny Depp's going to be lip syncing to you? What was your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, I had gotten the script from what is his name now? Something Goldberg. Danny Goldberg. Who's the keyboard player from? He's gonna kill me for saying this. He was in Paul Butterfield blues band, and I just played on one of his records. I don't know why I'm not thinking of his first name right now. But anyways, he calls me one day and he says, "Hey man, they're making a movie. It's like a 50s Grease movie. It's called Crybaby. They've called me to see if I want to be interested in if he was interested in maybe, you know, doing some of the music for it." He says, this script is right down your alley. So he comes by my apartment and drops off the script, and I read the whole Crybaby script, and I was like, wow. Oh my God, I can't believe this. He says, you need to try out for this movie. So I put in whatever. I had like an agent at the time because I'd already been trying to do movies. So I tried to get in for the film, and then I get word back from somebody. I think it might have been from Danny, saying to me, they got a guy. This guy Johnny Depp. He's a teen heartthrob guy from a TV show, and he's going to be doing a movie. And I'm like, oh man, this like movie. It's like I would love to do this movie. So I'm thinking, okay, he's doing it. I was on tour somewhere doing something, and I get home, and this is before we had cell phones and stuff. And I get home, there's 20 messages on my machine. People from the production company calling, you need to call us back. You need to call us back. And I call back, and they go, there you are. Where have you been? We've been trying to get a hold of you. I said, look, man, I've been on tour, and I just got home. They said, you need to come over and meet with us tomorrow. I said, okay. So I go and meet with them. They explain to me about the movie. I said, I know the movie. They go, we're paring this thing down. We've, met looking at about 100 guys for the voice of this Crybaby character. And so they whittled it down to 3 people at the end, like the final thing. And it was between me and a guy named Colin Winsky and a guy and Billy Burnett. So they had all 3 of us go into the studio. So I didn't really have the gig. I didn't know what was happening. So it wasn't like, how did I get the gig? The gig kind of sort of started. I had already heard about the film, and all of a sudden now they're sending us into the studio. And they had us go into the studio, and we cut 2 songs. We cut the song My Gal's Red Hot, and we had to cut Teardrops Are Falling. And so all 3 of us went in there at separate times and recorded those 2 songs. And then I guess what they did was they played those tracks for John Waters, and they said, these are our 3 finalists that we came up with. Which one of these guys sounds like Crybaby? And that's how I got the gig.
That's awesome, dude. Man, the one other question I have really quick, you just blew my mind with all of the people you've been playing and name dropping coming up. But man, I have to tell you, this isn't signed by Nick 13. This is signed by you. You mind telling people the big influence you had on Nick 13's solo album? Because I know you produced it, and I know you're kind of all over that album, maybe playing a few different instruments. And I personally, I love it more than Tiger Army stuff. Not that I don't like them, but
No,
it's
I
a
appreciate
really
that.
good country album, man.
Thanks. I'm very, very proud of that record. I think what happened was I had heard from other people that they said, hey, this guy in the band Tiger Army, he's like, he's into your music. He likes what you do. He's mentioned you a couple times on stage, and my sister even told me that, and a few other people. And I thought, wow, is that true? I thought, well, that's cool. And I didn't really know Nick at the time. And then one night I was hanging out with all the guys from Dwight Yoakam's band. We went to a bar somewhere, and Nick came in because I think one of the guys in the band had invited Nick, and so we're standing there, and Nick introduced himself to me. I said, hey, how's it going? So we started chit-chatting, and then he said something to me about he's been going to Nashville to write and try to do stuff and get inspired. I said, well, I live in Nashville now. I said, so here's my phone number. Call me when you're there. I'll take you around. So we ended up hanging out, and that's how it started. He played a few songs in my living room, and I said, okay. And I took the guitar and said, how about if we do it like this? And then we started collaborating, and then we ended up making the record.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, he's somebody that we almost had him on the show. Maybe you could put it in a word for. He was this close to doing it, and then But you know what, man, it would be lovely to hear a song from you before we have to cut out James. It's obvious that we need to spend more time with you. If you'd like to stop by some other time here.
I know I'm kind of long-winded. You asked me a question, and I've been doing this so long. It's just kind of hard to give you.
To me, it's pure delight to hear you talking, man. Really.
Cool. Well, I'll play a new song. This is a song I wrote for a 45 that's coming out on Sleazy Records
Cool.
for the guys in Spain. He asked me to record it this year when we were there with a band, and he said, "Hey, can you write a couple songs?" And so I wrote this song. What's the day I wrote this song? I wrote it on February 1st, and we went into the studio there and cut it. And I guess the 45's coming out here probably any day now. I'm not sure when it's going to be released, but it's called Never Gonna Let You Go. It's just kind of a little rockabilly song I figured I would write for them. So I'll play this one for you guys. Well, you say you're gonna love me, you're never gonna leave me, and if you're gonna deceive me, you better best believe it now, baby. Never gonna let you go. When you're getting into trouble, floating on a bubble, stepping in a puddle, boy, you're fun to cuddle now, baby. I'm never gonna let you go. Now some guys just can't see what I see when you come walking by. Every step you take makes my poor heart break. Girl, you drive me wild. I'm burning with desire, the way that you inspire. I'm walking on a wire. You set my soul on fire now, baby. Never gonna let you go. Now some guys just can't see what I see when you come walking by. Every step you take makes my poor heart break. Girl, you drive me wild. I like the way you squeeze me when you wanna please me. Girl, the way you tease me, you make it look so easy now, baby. I'm never gonna let you go. 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 Never gonna let you go.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. You wrote that. Hey,
Yeah,
I want to reveal behind the scenes here. We did a little sound check earlier, and you ran through. You did a little bit of that song. I'm thinking, why didn't I know that? I know it's an old song, but
it's the first time I've ever played it live. This is the first time we've ever played it.
Wow, that's fantastic, man.
We recorded it.
Tom, can we have him do one more? I know we got to jump over the Reverend Horton Heat's feed here.
Yeah, let's
We got 10 minutes.
James, if you have a moment, I know people out there. I mean, your history is fascinating, and the world loves you, man. And you, because you give out that love, man. I'm so happy to see you getting it back during these downtimes, man.
Right on.
But
Thanks,
what we
pal.
love most about you is your voice and your songs, your music. Let's hear another one, man.
All right. Well, what should I do? Should I do one of the ones maybe off the first album? Like I could do one of the early ones, and I could do "Crying Over You."
If you
like that,
if you
too.
did "My Heart Is Aching for You," we played that up. Me and my wife. It was in our wedding. So if you could do that
All
for
right,
my wife
Tom.
Shelley, she would love that.
We're gonna send this out to Tom and Shelley.
Yeah.
My heart is aching for you, and it can't be controlled. 'Cause all I know is I love you, wanna make you my own. My heart is aching for you, and it's plain to see that you're the only girl in this whole wide world for me. It's gonna be so nice, me loving you right. I don't want to think of anyone else tonight. My heart is aching for you, and it's plain to see that you're the only girl for me. It's gonna be so nice, me loving you right. I don't want to think of anyone else tonight. My heart is aching for you, and it's plain to see that you're the only girl for me. Yeah, you're the only girl for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty, just as you are, my friend. Thank you for hanging out with us here. I know both Tom and Paul really appreciated you being on here. We were super excited about it. A little nervous, but man, God bless you, my
guys.
friend.
God bless you too, brother. And you guys, thanks so much for having me on. I've had a ball, and hopefully I'll get to do it with you guys again sometime, and we can tell some more stories. We got
Real quick.
a lot of good stories.
Okay, but let the people know those who might not be clued in when they can hear you online.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm doing live streams on my Facebook page, Mondays, West Coast time, 7 p.m. And so on in New York that would be I think 10 o'clock. And then I'm doing Thursdays as well, because what was happening was all these people from Europe were trying to watch, and it's 4 a.m. and a lot of them still watch at 4 a.m, which is crazy, but God bless them for doing it. But I do it Thursdays at noon here in California time. Thursdays noon, and it's for the European people, but a lot of people that work at night will watch the afternoon show that I do. And I usually play for 1, 2, I don't know, some 3 hours sometimes. It all depends.
You do these marathon sessions.
Yeah, I'm just doing a request show, so people are requesting and dedicating songs to their wives or their husbands or someone who's passed away. So it's been a beautiful experience, to be able to do that, facilitate that for everybody. So Mondays at 7 and Thursdays at noon, I'm doing my show called Requests and Dedications. So thanks you guys for that.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your
Thanks
talent
so much,
with the
James.
world.
You guys, thanks for having me, man.
Hey, we'll see you, man. Thanks, James. Thanks you very
Cheers,
much.
man.
See you soon.
All right, guys, that's just about it for West Coast Ramble. Remember, if you donate $10, you're going to get one of these stickers sent to you, and also $15 if you'd like the Ding Dong Daddy-O's. You get a CD and a sticker. That's pretty cool. And also, if you're so inclined, you can get a West Coast Ramble shirt for $30. Robert, you had something to say, sir.
Just once again, if I know you have it on the screen there, but if you can say again the where people can donate, just because we want to take care of our friends, we want to spread the love to our fellow musicians here for taking the time to be with us. If you could just state the pay things for those who might not be able to read it on the screen.
Sure, yeah, you can see it. I made them a little bit bigger this time. It's PayPal at TAPRD7 at Gmail, and Venmo at West Coast Ramble. So, man, thanks a lot for all that. In the past, you've given us a lot of money. We've been able to seriously give it out to a lot of the artists and everything like that. So it's going to a good cause. And thanks for just watching. Even if you don't have any cash right now, thanks for watching and supporting the show. So anything else, you guys?
Let's do it again next week. Oh,
do it again.
real quick, you let us know who you'd like to see on the show. We already have ideas. We have some things lined up, but we really want to hear who you want to see on the show.
That's right, friends. Any last comments? Then we're going to go. And
you take care of yourself. Take care of each other.
Trevor Horton Heat, stageit.com on right now.
Let's go to Stage It right now.
All right, friends. We'll talk to you later.
Guys.
We'll see you. Stand by. Let's get some music going.